All right. Not attention. All right. I'm going to call to order the Park Board meeting for Tuesday, March 28, 2017. I need a roll call.
Member Castleman.
Present.
Member Cipolla.
Present.
Member Harris.
Present.
Member Heath.
Present.
Member Seamers.
Present.
Member Troutman.
Present.
Chairman Manson.
Present.
Member Howdy Shell and Member Eastwood are absent.
All right, thank you. All stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, there's no personal appearances. I'm going to call for acceptance of the minutes.
I move to accept the minutes from the February 28, 2017 meeting.
Second.
All right, the motion's been made and second for the acceptance of the minutes for the February 28, 2017 meeting. Any discussion or amendments? All right. All those in favor? All right, it passes 7 with 2 absences. Committee reports. Recreation and Grounds did not meet, Budget did on March 14, 2017. Do we have any updates on that? Director Mustine.
Yes, sir. Just a quick, a brief update. The Budget Committee, the Finance Committee did meet on March 14th. Topics of discussion were the CIP plan, the schedule of fees, and there was one other item. I apologize. Skips me right now. Anyway, the notes are in the back of your packet. If you have any questions, be more than happy to answer that. And that concludes staff report.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, staff reports. Director Mustine.
Thanks, sir. I'll call on Superintendent McLean.
Thank you, sir. I have submitted a report in your packet. I'd like to highlight just a few things with it being March, of course. Spring has sprung in the Recreation Division. Maybe just as much as the Parks Division, but main things we've been working on, staff's been working on gathering up seasonal part-time personnel for concession operations, preparing for the youth summer camp this summer, director position, the assistant director position, camp counselors. Also, staff has been working on finding more officials, things to that nature for our spring sports. So a lot of interviews, a lot of things going on in that area. We've also completed getting kids placed on teams with coaches, freezes, and all the building of soccer, volleyball, and for the first time in the spring, a flag football league. So those 3 are going right now. Today we did decide to go ahead and extend the baseball and softball registration deadline back 1 week, just to allow for us to market it a little bit more. We're seeing a little bit slower return on registration on that one, so we're just wanting to push that one a little bit harder. Want to highlight just a couple of things quickly with the staff. Athletic Coordinator Hedrick, of course, with all the sports, has had multiple meetings with the South Metro Sports Group, scheduling games, getting practices done, rules, regs, things like that. Coordinator Keith has been working very hard on the upcoming events. This Friday, of course, we have the Food Fest food truck event at TB Hanna. So that one is going to be this Friday. Then, of course, April 15th, we have the Easter Festival, and then the following weekend on the 22nd, we have Touch a Truck. So she is working very hard in getting those events ready to go. And that concludes my summary report, so I'll be glad to entertain any questions at this time.
Brian.
Yeah, thanks, Mr. McLean. There's a lot of stuff in this packet. But curious on 2 questions. How many teams do we have signed up for the tournament this weekend? And the second question is, Rec Track 3.1, how is that going? Can you give us an update?
Okay, your first question, we actually do not have the tournament this weekend. They called us today and let us know that they didn't have enough to have both facilities that they currently had booked. So this weekend we're out, but next weekend we are on for the tournament. So that one was canceled due to Grand Slam, not due to our department. And then secondly, your second question, Rec Track 3.1, it is a learning experience, but it is functioning very well. Very few glitches. We've had a couple. Office Assistant Nab here next to me, she has worked very hard with Rec Track and kept them up to speed on if we run across something that's not working quite the way it used to or the way we thought it was supposed to, and gotten those fixed and ready to go. So honestly, registration process has moved right along without any real issues.
Brian?
I have one follow-up. So the tournament this weekend was canceled at our facility. So I assume we were considered an overflow facility.
We were for this first one because we have not held one this early. Most of the time, our first tournament is the last weekend in April. So this year, we actually added 3 before that start date, and so this one being the main one that we were overflow. And then next weekend was a change of venue. They actually moved it to where we were the main location, and then the third one we're an overflow as well.
And what makes them decide whether we're the primary location or the overflow? Is
I
it
think
size?
age
Is it
division,
number of
age
fields?
divisions.
Age divisions?
Yeah, because we can't hold more. We only have 2 fields that do like 60, 90. You know, the older age divisions, 90-foot bases. We only have 2 fields that hold those. So if it's an older age group, then we are the backup. If it's a younger age division, then they can host those more here and have the other ones as overflow. So,
Okay. Thank you, sir.
yes.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Director Mustine.
Thank you. I'll call on Superintendent Rulo for a parks report.
Thank you. I did also submit a written report, but wanted to just key on a couple things that's going on this past month. Park staff has been prepping both soccer fields and the baseball complex for the start of the seasons. As Mr. McLean just stated, this weekend is the start of pretty much everything. So the guys have been diligently working on all of that. Also been getting ready for the 3 upcoming events. Don't really have a whole lot to do for the Touch a Truck, but we're touching up all the props for the Easter event. And then just wanted to let everyone know that the restrooms are open in every park for the season. There's a couple of the drinking fountains that we do not have up yet, just waiting for that one chance that it could freeze, and they're kind of, they take a little longer to tear down, so within the next week or so, they'll all be up. So, upon that, I'll take on any questions.
Brian?
Are the shade structures up officially? I haven't been able to get by during the day to even look.
No, I was in touch with Shade Structures this week. The plan is to have them up next week before the tournament.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone else? Thank you, sir. Director Mustine.
Thanks, sir. Again, I've also submitted a written report, just a couple highlights. Pretty excited about our second Friday Food Fest, the event this Friday night. So if you're able to stop by, we anticipate some big numbers again like we did last year. I know Coordinator Keith has worked pretty hard, so be nice to have everybody out there show support for her and her efforts on these events. Second, next week during City Council work session next Monday night, a couple items that are related to Parks and Recreation are on the agenda. The July 4th fireworks contract will be discussed. As you all know, we talked about that at one of our previous meetings that's scheduled. And if everything goes according to plan, Confluence, our architects for Hawk Ridge Park improvements, they should be there to present the presentation that you have already seen to the city council. Upon their blessing at that point, we'll move forward with bid documents and work towards getting that project rolling over the summer months. So a couple items for next Monday night, if you're able to attend, that would be nice to have some support there. Also, Mr. McLean and I, we are currently working on our Centerview policies, procedures. As that building comes closer to being open, we are putting in place basically the process from which the public can rent that facility and make that usable for the community, which is the whole idea behind it. So we've been working on that pretty hard. We hope to be able to bring some sample policies to you guys for review and to take a look at, and so that we can show you how that facility will operate. The rack is, as you know, has been bid. We are in negotiations with a contractor there. You'll see over the course of the next several weeks, just that process of negotiation, figuring out what is afforded, what we can afford, what things are, eye candy, and what things are a necessity, and just that whole process. So just a quick update for you all, that's where we are in the process of that. We still look to have a contract in place, to have a bid and construction documents going out this summer, and construction and a grand opening, within 12 to 13 months at this point. So that project is moving right along. I'm pretty excited about that as well. So we got some big stuff coming. Also on April 10th, TV Hanna Station is scheduled to have second reading on the rezoning from commercial and residential property to a public and park property. At that time, the council is scheduled to designate that as a park and turn over the care and the operations fully to the park board and the Parks and Rec department. So that's a kind of pretty exciting time. It's not often we get handed a brand new park. So although we've had it within our ownership for some time and we have been maintaining it, it officially becomes one of ours at that point. So look forward to that and hope that you guys can be a part of that process. And finally, really happy to say, I'm sorry that Mr. Eastwood's not here tonight, but we have completed all of the punch list items on the disc golf course. The signs are up. We have a couple outstanding purchase orders that are waiting to be cleared, and once that is done, that CIP project will be officially closed and off of our status of capital improvement. So it's been a long time coming, but I would say that everybody on this board and those that participate out in the community truly view that as a top-notch course. The improvements that we've done and the maintenance that we do on it on a day-to-day basis, it's very popular, very active, and even as of a few nights ago at the P&Z, I was watching that meeting, and one of the residents was bragging on the disc golf course at a P&Z meeting on the signage and just the layout and how much they enjoy playing on that. So we're excited about that. It's something that we were able to do in-house, and it's a credit to you guys for having that vision and supporting that and funding it. So by this time next month, that project will be off of our improvement plan, and we'll move on to the next stuff. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Brian.
Just a couple of things, and one, this might be for our comment section, but I think it's appropriate now. I talked to a few people in the Skyview neighborhood, right there behind Rec Park, and at least two people were bragging on the disc golf course, so they love it. It's awesome. The question for you on Hawk Ridge Park, the presentation will be given to City Council next week, assuming they have no major changes, then we go to bid documents. But the agreement with MDC on the fishing dock and the restroom facility, are we waiting for that for the whole project, or can that go ahead and start since that's technically done?
So the agreement portion of that, part of our involvement in that. It's a kind of a 75-25 arrangement. Part of that 25% is that we design and engineer the plan and their reimbursement process. So those projects, specifically the dock, portions of the loop trail, and the restroom facility, those are included in the overall master plan. So that has been included. Now, what we are planning to do, because it's a reimbursement, we are planning that those particular projects are the first to be done as we get going, so that we can submit, sign off on that, and get that reimbursement and reinvest those dollars back into the project on the back end of it. So they are kind of waiting, but yes, to answer your question, they'll be at the beginning of the project overall.
But we wouldn't start that until the bid documents come back?
It'll all be within one bid package.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Any other questions? All right. Thank you, sir. We have no old business. We'll move on to new business. Item A, this is Festival in the Park MOU. This is an action item. Director Mustine.
Thank you, sir. As you guys know, each year during the festival, or during the fall, the Festival in the Park Committee, they basically take over Memorial Park for, technically it's 3 days, but overall it's more like 5 days as they set up and tear down and stuff. This MOU is the agreement between us as department and a park board and the festival committee on how the use of that park functions. It has been established and pretty much a standard document over several years. This particular year is no change in that other than dates and times. As you read through it, it's the draft of, or the template of that document. The festival has requested that it go before the board tonight for your approval and move forward. Typically, the process is in March, we review the MOU. Upon your approval, it goes back to the festival. The current chair signs it, the festival signs it, and then it sits. In April, they come back with, if they choose to do a beer garden or anything of that in April, request for alcohol in the park will come before you. Once that process is done, both documents and both applications go before the city council in May. So this is just step one of a step two process to get the festival, all the paperwork, all the things that they need. As I said, there are no major changes. There's no changes in the reimbursement. The council has already budgeted the in-kind services for that, which is basically the council pays for our guys to do the overtime. It's a reimbursement program. I would say that, I probably say that we have never exceeded the dollars that they put in there. And I'll give credit to our guys that we're just efficient and that good. So with that being said, this is the template. And the festival and staff are seeking the board's approval to move forward with this MOU.
Any questions? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
I move we accept the motion. I move we accept the Festival in the Park Memorandum of Understanding for 2017.
I second it.
All right, I have a motion that's made and seconded. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? All right, motion passed. Moving on, item B, shelter naming, and this is an action item. Director Mustine.
Thank you, sir. When we held our CIP, or our budget committee meeting on March 14th, we reviewed the schedule of fees, and that's an annual review that we do in the spring. It talks about the fees that we charge for rentals, facilities, things of that nature. One of the things that we noticed in a discussion at that time was the naming of the East Shelter and the naming of the West Shelter. Both are in two different parks, and when the East Shelter was named in 2005, it was technically at that time part of Recreation Park and on the east side of Recreation Park. Since that time, the board has separated Recreation Park into two with the tree line separating that. So the east side is now Moon Valley Park, which is in the Moon Valley subdivision. Recreation Park is technically on the west side that butts up to Madison Street. So as we were talking about the schedule of fees, one of the discussions and a suggestion would be to rename that east shelter to represent the park that it's in, so that it's just less confusing. Ultimately, later on in the year, as we develop the Arboretum area at Memorial Park, we would like to engage the Lions Club and see if they have a recommendation to rename the west shelter and just get those directional names off of there so that they're less confusing. So before you tonight is just a request from staff based on your recommendation to officially rename this. What it will do is it'll rename it in the schedule of fees, which is the official document in the budget, and it will also give us direction to change the name on the website, program guides, things like that. And we'll just officially start calling it the Moon Valley Picnic Shelter, if that is what you choose to name it, which is the direction I was kind of given. So at this point, it's just a standard procedure, and staff's looking for a motion to make that change.
Any questions? Brian? All right, I'll entertain a motion at this time.
I move we rename the East Shelter in Moon Valley Park to Moon Valley Shelter.
Second.
All right, motion's been made and seconded for renaming the East Shelter in Rec Park to Moon Valley Shelter. Any discussion? All right, all those in favor? Passes. Director Mustine.
Yes, you will have to forgive staff if we revert back to the old ways. Anytime we rename something, it's very hard to retrain ourselves. As we found out with renaming the baseball fields 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, it's still 10, 11, 7, 8, 9, and 6, 7, 8, 9. So we'll do our best to make that change, but in all documentation, it will be officially changed.
Thank you, sir. All right, there's no public comment. At this time, we'll go to board member comment. I'll start on my far left. Brian?
Yeah, I just want to remind everybody, this Friday's Food Truck Friday. Friday Food Fest. Friday Food Fest. There are 6 trucks coming. For those that don't know, there's a Cajun Cabin, KC Pinoy, American Fusion, the Carlsons, Slater's Pizza and Wings, and for those late night coffee drinkers, Coffee Cake KC. They also sell cupcakes, but coffee also. So lots of good choices, lots of menu options. So everybody should come out. Starts at 6 o'clock, and the Interstate 49 band will be playing. How late does that go? Is there an ending time?
6 to 9.
6 to 9.
the
9 is an
standard
official
time,
ending
yeah.
time. But it's a public park, so you can stay later if you want.
It's got free Wi-Fi.
Does it really? Mm-hmm. Well, there's a new one I didn't know about, and free Wi-Fi. Although the Wi-Fi on my phone's broke, so but, that's all I got.
For the record, the parks do close at 11, though.
I didn't say it was open all night, did I?
I just want to be clear.
You need some coffee, Brian. All right, Steve.
Yeah, a couple of things. I want to piggyback on the Friday Food Fest. That's a really cool idea, and you guys have done a great job. Bringing food trucks here for people to sample when we live in a little city is a really cool thing because a lot of people don't get to sample that. Also, I've been to a few of the parks, and they really look good. So you guys have done a great job out there. This time of year, you never know what you're going to get. But I frequent Rec Park quite a bit, and they're in great shape. So the fields and everything out there are in good shape. So thank you.
All right, Jim? All right, you're good. I'm glad to hear that. Michelle?
As always, thank you to all the staff for all your hard work. A lot of stuff you guys do doesn't get recognized, but people do see it, so thank you. And then get out and vote next Tuesday. Thank you.
All right, Sheldon?
Just a question on parking. I'm involved with a group of people who may come here in a small bus. I don't know if there's any limitation. I don't know what the size of this thing's going to be, but will parking be an issue, or can the church lot be used?
Yes, sir. They'll be able to park in the church lot, both the east and the west side, and then along the street. So it should be fine.
Good enough.
All right, Jenny?
I think my peers covered it well. Thank you, guys. And again, staff, always, thank you.
All right. I'm not going to ask Brian to name the 6 food trucks again. Well, that's okay. I mean, well, after the way this is going, it probably wouldn't hurt to have a stake in one of those, especially the Coffee Cake KC. As it is, again, I want to thank staff for an excellent job and the support they give this board, because without it, we wouldn't be able to function as we do. And that means to each of the superintendents, including the director, and of course Greta, and we always appreciate that, and our coordinators that we were only too happy to see the last time, and we like to see periodically. We know they exist, and we like to, we gain quite a bit of insight from them. So with that said, at this time, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
And I will second that.
Thank you, Jenny. All right, a motion's been made and seconded for adjournment. All those in favor? All right. This meeting's formally adjourned.